Welcome to the project window once again, where I report what I think about what's going on, primarily in hip hop culture, but, you know, the world and life in general from my project window. So this particular video, I wanted to talk about the ramifications of the P. Diddy case as well as the Little Dirk case on hip hop as a whole, meaning where do we go next? And why I asked that is because both those cases are very huge on the culture of hip hop. And what I mean by that is this is a status quo change now. Things will never be the same as far as, or at least I won't say they'll never be the same, but what I mean by that is how things have been operated on in a sense of normalcy, that's gone now. You know, somebody like Diddy, for instance, this guy was an institution in hip hop, an institution in rap. Puffy has been around since, the early 90s with Uptown Records. You know what I'm saying? Heavy D and the Boys, uh, Mary J. Blige's Rise in the Game, Jodeci, people like that. So he's been around a long time, has been an influence on hip hop culture for a long, long time. And now that his legacy, for the most part, has been destroyed in a way that I don't think that we've seen before. We've seen important legacies get taken down before. Don't get me wrong. We've had, R. Kelly, situations like that. But this one is much bigger because everybody who is considered a hip hop great or a legend has had some kind of interaction with Diddy, barring some of the newer people, obviously, the Kendrick Lamars of the world, Drake's, etc. Yeah, okay. P. Diddy was already like an elder statesman by that point, but you know, everything that we regard as great in hip hop from the previous era before 2010, Diddy, in some way, shape, or form, had some kind of involvement or stood next to, did a record with something. You know what I'm saying? To Jay Z, to Nas, Biggie, Tupac kind of comes out of this looking good, obviously, because he had a whole war with Puffy and Biggie and whatnot. But other than like Pac, like everybody has had some kind of interaction with Puffy, and most likely it was positive. I'm not saying that implicates all of them, but like I said, he's been around as an institution in hip hop. So his legacy being destroyed is going to be a huge impact on how people look at hip hop, uh, even those previous moments. Um, do I think it should, you know, make people not cherish and champion those moments that he was a part of? No, because at the end of the day, this was a place and time, and we don't know we don't know the facts yet. As far as the case goes, we don't know what's gonna be found out in court. So we don't know when he started the freak offs. We don't know the timeline here. So for all we know, when he was in the hot tub in the Biggie videos, he didn't have any freak offs, which he probably didn't. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that should take away any personally from like people like Biggie, etc. I don't think so, but we know how people work in this day and age, and some people will use that as their excuse to delete, all of Biggie's work from their Spotify's or whatever, etc. Some people won't do that, but we know that some of those people do exist. And then to take it to the Dirk thing, I think labels as a whole, especially, they've been having a lot of heat on them about this. I'm hearing, I didn't even know this when I did my first video, but apparently FBG Duck's mother is doing a lawsuit against Dirk and his label. I didn't even know about that. um, a civil lawsuit, which I think is excellent. I think it's very smart of them to do so. Um, but with that being said, knowing how labels work, I think that they're going to want to step back from signing hip hop artists. You know, um, and some would say, oh, well, they'll just stop signing gangster rappers or whatever, or drill rappers, or whatever we want to call them right now. But I don't think labels practice discernment, like I said in the first video. So I think instead of, okay, we're just not going to sign artists that make this kind of content, I think they're going to take it out on hip hop as a whole and just say, all right, we're not signing no rappers right now. We're going to go sign Afrobeat artists, we're going to sign some reggaeton artists, etc. We're going to try to make some new pop stars. Country's back popping. Let's get some country acts. But I think that they take it out on rap, you know, and I think cases like the Dirk case and the Diddy case give them every bit of an excuse to say, yeah, let's not sign those people anymore. And I'm a lover of hip hop. You know, I love rap. You know, I don't want to see the genre as a whole fall. So that's going to be an effect on the genre, effect on people's pockets that are within the industry. Some will say it's deserved. You know, maybe this is what has to happen in order for things to get better. You know, I've read things like that, and I do ponder myself on the other side of things that maybe it is what's best for the genre, possibly. You know, it could be apocalyptic, but potentially, if labels start to not sign these guys, not sign rappers, and the genre begins to tumble a bit in popularity, that is, I don't think people who really love hip hop are gonna just magically stop listening to it. But I could see a world where it could lose its relevancy as far as pop culture. And I know a lot of people feel like that might be impossible, but it's not because we've seen that happen with rock. Once upon a time, when I was growing up, the most popular genre in the world was rock and roll. You know, I grew up loving hip hop and loving rap, but it was sort of like, okay, yeah, black people listen to hip hop. So of course, there was white folks that listen to hip hop as well, but it just was not like the primary driving force of pop culture. So it was like, all right, yeah, you're black, black dude, you can listen to mostly hip hop, whatever. But that was not, you know, the number one thing happening on places like MTV, etc. That was a gradual rise that we all witnessed. If you were around for the early 2000s, leading up to the 2010s, if you were in your formative years at that time, you would have seen the gradual shift and the climax to where hip hop began to be the number one genre in the country and the world. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm sure people in the rock community who are listening to that heavy saw the downfall and the decline to the point where I can't even tell you right now who's. I can't name three or four really popular rock acts right now that are new. I'm not talking about like, people like Red Hot Chili Peppers or something like that. I'm talking about like brand new acts, because rock has kind of been relegated to, I won't say underground, but it's just like, okay, if you listen to rock, you'll know that answer. But rock doesn't really strike pop culture anymore. And like I said, that would be unheard of if I would have like been able to get in a time machine and tell somebody that in the year 2000 or 99 or something like that, you know. So this can happen. Hip hop can go the way of rock where it's going to continue to be a genre, but is it going to be the driving force? Is it going to be the the thing that all the kids are talking about right now? It could turn into where it's not that. Um, but at the same time, if that were to happen, there are certain benefits that could happen due to that. I mean, you could get situations where for instance, the vulture could be literally deleted from rap, because people who don't really actually love hip hop, love the music, are not really artists. Guess what? They're going to go do something else. Once hip hop is not, you know, making the multitudes of money that it is currently, people will find something else that does make that money and go make it elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a culture vulture, as they call them, um, and you're trying to do rap to get your millions, and guess what? Labels aren't doing that no more. Then you're gonna go do whatever it is that's popping. So if that means that person turns around and becomes a, I don't know how that would work, but they would attempt to do Afro beat or something like that. Maybe that's what's gonna happen. Or you remember all the early 2010s where everybody was becoming, what was that genre of music? Um, Damn it, I'm catching a blank. But it was some form of techno, but it wasn't techno. It sounded like robots having sex. It's not popping up in my head right now, but that, everyone became a DJ overnight and was doing that kind of techno music. You know what I'm saying? Is it going to go back to something like that? Who knows? I could see that happening potentially. So potentially, in some ways, this could be a good thing. Who knows? But I think, yeah, there's a lot of question marks regarding what happens next with rap. So I'm going to close this video out. I just had a brief thought on that. What's next for rap? Our label is going to truly abandon signing new artists. Um, if that were to happen, what does the landscape look like? We got to think about this before I go. Think about the fact that the biggest rapper in the world right now, and some will argue if he's not, but I think he is, Kendrick Lamar. This dude is, I believe, 37 years old. Typically, the biggest rapper in the world is typically somebody who's new. Kendrick's been out since, technically, he's been out since 2009, but I know most of the world probably didn't hear of him until 2012. So that's still long. He's like long been in this game. Typically, by now, there would have been someone challenging for that throne, and if you say he's not the biggest, then obviously your other person you could say is Drake. Some will say, I guess, J. Cole. But regardless, all those guys are from the same era, you know. So it's uh it's gonna be interesting to see what happens to the hip hop genre as we move forward into next year and the year after that. What's gonna happen with this genre? Um, yeah, those are my thoughts live from the project window. Yeah, so this is video two. Leave me a comment if you actually get to listen to this, and let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm dead wrong. Peace.